Hi, everyone. Thanks for meeting with us for this feedback for the coaching documents. So Lauren and I will be giving feedback for this document. So for the first category, messages to staff, this was really well written. There's a couple of resources from the BACB task list, which is nice because it's tying it to our ethics code, which is super important for staff to know about and to be able to reflect back on it as they're working. A couple of comments for this section is to kind of review it for grammatical order errors, and just kind of make the flow of it a little bit better.
For the flow, do you mean like specific sentences that don't really fit where they are, or more as far as like sentence structure, more of a flow to the sentences?
Yeah, so I think Josh had made a comment about kind of rearranging some sentences to make it sound a little bit better, but both of what you said could benefit.
Yeah, I think Josh made some good comments about up here. He said something about adding in a respectful tone, be in like body language, because it's important for us to do that when communicating with our direct care staff. So I feel like that's a really good point by him.
All right, so for the staff reactions, I think another thing was the grammar and the wording that could be altered in a couple places. And also there's some places that should be more detailed with the scores to help with like the middle ground answers and stuff like that. We need to be like more specific with active listening skills. It could be broken into like different couple of items instead of just active listening skills.
Yeah, I think the other one was like timely manner, like that should be defined more. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You're like, that comment made a lot of sense to me, like timely manner, like that could mean one thing to one person and a totally different thing
so
to
like
the other
detail.
person.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of different aspects to the active listening, so I think it would make more sense to kind of pick a couple and put those, so it's a little bit more objective.
Mm-hmm.
And also something about offering like office hours so people can ask questions or phone or email different, like if we're like readily able to talk for supervisors and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I wanted to piggyback off of what Kelsey had mentioned was the objectivity of the charts. It seemed like this Likert scale was missing what the numbers meant. For example, is one strongly agree or strongly disagree? So that was something that we added feedback for as well to incorporate the numbers represent.
That makes sense. Do you think it should be part of the chart or like a separate, like can it be at the top? Like what label, like one equals, okay.
Like have a labeling system.
And I see here how it's just like circling 1 means this and circling 5 means this, but I think it's important to make sure we do like 1, 2, like all of them. So good idea.
We can even do that like in a list form too, so it's right there and easily able to see.
All right, so for your reactions, there's a couple of comments for this chart. So I think there was some more grammar errors for this one. Some of the sentences, I think they could have been combined and like have a more approachable tone to it, like how we were talking about the first paragraph. There were some things that weren't as clear, so maybe some more specifics or examples maybe can be included for this. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it definitely needs to be more specific. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
agree.
do think like kind of like the overall tone for a lot of these, like I know you guys had said it in the last couple ones too, like the overall tone, I think we just need to keep in mind who our audience is and that we're not talking to this class and like our classmates and like our professors, we're talking to other, you know what I mean? So I think we have to keep that in mind when we're writing this.
Definitely agree with that.
And I also I saw something else for this section with to have goals that are by the trainers and the staff. I know that was a comment made as well. Because it may interpret different goals for each section. That was like in our document. Okay, and this like the big question, do we ever find out if we do need to have the actual assessments in a document or if we don't?
For the MO, we do.
The MO we do, so the PAC we don't.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think we've been incorporating the PAC
In
assessment
everything. So
in all of our documents so far. So you guys might want to recheck that just to make sure we're not missing another assessment.
I'm gonna write that note just so we have that.
Thank you for doing that, Blair. I was just gonna say, maybe we should write that somewhere to remind us. Yeah, maybe just highlight the section. Yeah, perfect.
That's a checklist. Well, no, I'm talking about. Okay.
and let's see.
Yeah, I think this is the same. Like, there's a lot of grammatical feedback.
Yeah, grammar and combining things. Making it like not as wordy and stuff, easier to understand.
Definitely.
As far as the grammar and stuff, like it might be a good idea for our group to kind of switch off sections and see like, just really I think it's hard to be like, oh, can you like edit the entire document? But I think it's a lot easier for us to just switch off sections and kind of look at the wording and the grammar for all the sections.
Definitely sure it flows and makes sense and
Yeah, so keep saying that most of it is just like the grammar and how sentences are flowing.
and the procedural drift portion. This section was really great.
Yeah, the procedural drift, like the overall content was really well written. There's a lot of vital information. I think for this one, it was how would staff know how to access their resources and to make sure that they're implementing or doing things correctly. For example,
Can you just remind me, because this is the section that I wrote, did we already write where stuff should be? Or is that something I'm like making up?
So it was left as one of the comments, like knowing where or when they should be accessing the pack or like the BIP or like should they just automatically know that they should be checking it or should the supervisor be reminding them? So I mean, just a little bit more activity.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
Other than that, yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I thought this section was great. I agree that one of these titles can be removed. Do we know what the correct title says on the PowerPoint that we were given?
I'm unsure. I think either one would be fine.
If you just want to leave Blair, if you want to leave like a comment or I guess it already says that, but we can write like someone should check what the PowerPoint says. Yeah, perfect.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
I think another thing that we saw, we kept changing like RBTs, BTs, direct care staff, like through the whole document, and that should be like all in sync.
Yeah, I definitely saw that. I say that. What do you guys treat direct care staff? Because
I think because we've been doing direct care staff, that we should do that for this document too.
I agree.
It's also nice to know that if they are RBTs and they can still go to like their ethics code, like to for this topic overall was very well written. There's a lot of not like good information again. I think I left a comment about including some examples on like when it's okay to use physical touch, when it's not okay, just a little bit more details about that. And then how the staff would be trained on recognizing when a client is not wanting to use like full prompts, or like when to step back from that, because that can be tricky sometimes for staff, especially if they're not aware of like past abuse or anything like that.
Definitely.
I forget, was there somewhere mentioned in this section about like specifically about trauma informed care? Like I know it really talks about it a lot, but
Mhm.
I think because that's such a big topic in our field right now too, I think it would be good to like label that as what it is.
Yeah, I agree. That
Yeah.
would be another comment to try to incorporate that, because I did see a lot of tying back to the task list, which was nice because, you know, we're following through with that as the direct care staff as RDT. That's cool.
And then this last section is the MO assessment. I
Yeah.
wanted to get your all's feedback on the MO assessment that I wrote. And I wrote this at the beginning of the semester, and I think that it needs to be altered. But
Now, is this the same one we used for every document we've handed in so far?
yes,
I
So-
think for
ahead.
this one, I think it was missing the checklist. So a checklist is missing. If you
Was
guys,
there a checklist for the MO assessment, or was it just the assessment itself? I don't
Mm.
remember ever seeing. I thought it was just the checklist was just for.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think this one might have to be like created because, you know, we're training the direct care staff, so and motivating assessment might need to be,
Like made into a checklist.
yeah. So I think reviewing the PDF might be beneficial for that part, or reaching out to like the instructor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another
Yeah.
thing, just like again, some grammar stuff and some like confusing, like that one sentence, but you hook it out looks like Blair, but when it was like, well, sometimes you could decrease it, but do you decrease it or you don't decrease it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for our specific clinic, what we plan to do.
And then there are the references.
Blair, what was it that you were thinking needed to be altered?
With this MO assessment, well, I just didn't know if like how it was supposed to be written, or if it is okay if it's the same one that we turned in throughout the semester. Just if there's a more, I guess, understandable way to explain it. Or like write an MO assessment.
Yeah, those are really good questions. I don't know if the group has any feedback for that, or like we can reach out to the instructor before the due date to get a better idea.
I
of
can
what-
also post on the community thread to see if, you know, anyone else in the course can answer any.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the community thread would be a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I can also post in there, I think there was a couple more in the beginning that we talked about that I can just write in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be perfect. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of hard work written for this coaching feedback. So overall, it's like really well, and I think with just the feedback, it's just going to improve it that much better. So thank you guys.
Thank you. I think the feedback was really, really helpful and really informative. So it was great.
And I think we all worked well together all semester. So thanks, guys.
Yeah.